Hi, everybody. Welcome, welcome. As you arrive, please let me know where you are located at. We'll be doing a solar eclipse reading, looking at how that's affecting the collective and how that's affecting individuals. I'm going to read a passage from the Tao Te Ching here in a moment, and the invitation while I'm reading this is to just bring some attention into your body. Allowing your awareness to drop into the moment and specifically the sensations of this moment. And maybe somebody could let me know if you can hear me okay. I want to make sure that my audio's all right. You can just give me a thumbs up. Awesome. Good to see you all. I definitely would love, I wish that there was a way that I could actually visually see each of you just to get the deeper sense of who's here. The best I can do right now is to invite that you let me know where you're at, and B, just seeing the little bits of messages that you put on there is really nice. So I'm just so you're aware, I have COVID right now. I got a positive test on Friday, and my symptoms are very mild, but there's definitely a little bit of that in the air. So if I end up moving slower than I usually move, that's probably a bit of it. All right. So again, the invitation right now is just to bring some awareness into your body, into your felt senses, as I read this passage from the Tao Te Ching. The supreme good is like water, which nourishes all things without trying to. It is content with the low places that people disdain. Thus, it is like the Tao. In dwelling, live close to the ground. In thinking, keep to the simple. In conflict, be fair and generous. In governing, don't try to control. In work, do what you enjoy. In family life, be completely present. When you are content to be simply yourself and don't compare or compete, everybody will respect you. When you are content to be simply yourself and don't compare or compete, everybody will respect you. That's the 8th verse in the Stephen Mitchell translation of the Tao Te Ching, which is, I've had this particular Tao since I was 19, I believe, yeah. I'll have a Tao Te Ching, I think it's going to be 3-month long session where we'll go through the first 27 Taos, Tao Te Ching sections in the community portal. And it'll be a place both to tune in with the living energy of that text, as well as some practices that help create more flow through the energy system. So I believe that's starting next Thursday. And it's pretty simple. It's usually about an hour-long session of just tuning in with this particular energy. So good to see you. I see you, Linda, Amanda, Tamara, nice to see you. Janet, Lucky, lovely to connect with you all. So I'm going to pull a couple of cards for this solar eclipse and just get a sense of what the energies are that's bringing in. What's the fresh energy that comes from this event? And then I'll be opening up the space for questions. Please don't put your questions in there yet. Wait until I ask. That way I can get like a good grid of them. All right. Just so you all know, what happens when I tune in with my body and then I create the intention to connect with the collective is it feels like my nervous system becomes like a radio wire, and it becomes very available to a precise type of pattern of energy, and then I slowly allow myself to be filled up with that particular energy, and then that's where I pull the cards from. There's sort of an internal somatic knowing of when to start pulling the cards. Yeah, these are big changes here. So the first thing to be aware of with what's happening at a collective level for this this solar eclipse is showing up as this lovely Nine of Wands. And it's the Nine of Wands in reverse, but I'll just give you a little bit of a close view of what's going on here. Now, this is a energy that's very much related to getting close to the finish line. But that last stretch that's really uncomfortable, that last stretch where it's like, I've put so much time, I've put so much effort into what's going on here. And you can see that there's a real protective element to this particular character. He's guarding himself with the wands that are around him. He even looks a little bit beat up. He's got a little bit of like a, a bandage on his head. He looks kind of rocked. And it's in reverse. And so there's a particular element in our way of protecting ourselves that's getting pushed against, and it's been rather uncomfortable for a lot of people. In other words, there's something that's needed to protect itself in our lives, whether that's our hearts, whether that's our bodies in some sort of way, whether that's the parts of ourselves that are trying to grow but there's a bit of a glass ceiling. This protective element has been kind of locked into place. And that means that while it's doing some degree of protecting, it's keeping us safe in some way, it's also inhibiting the movement of our energy. It's keeping us from being able to step into new modes of moving through life. In this reverse position, it's definitely holding that element of something that's rather contracted and holding. The reason for this type of contraction has been we haven't been able to trust people. We haven't been able to necessarily trust life. When something gets really scared and it pulls back, it's no longer connected to the energy of the earth, the energy of the planet that feels nourishing, that creates safety. And so then it's like, that's where paranoia comes from. Carl Jung called paranoia the shadow of intuition. Intuition is the ability to see the big picture, the big patterns that are happening in life, and have an insight into what's happening. And paranoia is when we're creating a certain, there's like fear that's locked into intuition, and then we start creating conspiracy theories, or we start not trusting people. Another quote from the Tao Te Ching is that the master, she trusts people who are trustworthy, but she also trusts people who are not trustworthy. This is true trust. And what that means is that when we are integrated, when we're coherent, when the parts of ourselves are like deeply landed in life, we trust ourselves and we trust life and we trust what people are showing up with. And by what I mean by that is that we notice when somebody isn't trustworthy, and we trust that that's what they're showing us. We're able to see it. We're able to intuit inside of ourselves and go, oh, I can see this person clearly, and therefore I'm not going to like bare my soul to this person necessarily. But when we're in this place where something's been stuck and contracted, there's this tendency to not be able to trust life. And it's also because there have been things that have been really unfair to us. I'm curious if some of you have been experiencing the past couple weeks as we're leading up to this, any emergence or drawing forward of things in your life that have felt unfair. Maybe relationships that have felt unfair, maybe job circumstances, or even just life circumstances where it's been like, that really hurt, and that it's popped up into your awareness. And maybe you've heard from some of these people, maybe you've been around people that have harmed you in this way. This is all the stuff that's getting pulled to the surface during this eclipse time to be related to and hopefully begin to be digested. Now, that's a bit of what's showing up for this particular eclipse. What you can expect in the coming period is going to be a little bit of turning inwards, and a little bit of maybe even like melancholy. Something has been scuffed off. An old pattern is leaving your system, leaving your life. What I mean by that is like something that you've experienced maybe again and again, something that maybe has been very helpful in some ways in your life, but it has also sort of kept you stuck or kept you off kilter, unable to step into the next place, is being scuffed off. And even something like this, when it starts to leave, it's a shift in life. And there can be a sense of loss that comes with it, which is why we've got this particular card. These two are coming out together, our Nine of Swords and our Four of Cups. So some sort of cycle is being digested. And I don't expect this to be a tomorrow it's been digested. I expect there to be probably a week or two, maybe a month, where it feels like something is leaving your system. It feels like something is leaving your life, but it's doing so in sort of a slow manner. This isn't a big cathartic boom, tears, it's gone, or lifting. This is like a slow sifting out that's going to move towards a much greater degree of hearing the call that your life is about, hearing the whisper that is moving you forward in your life. This is the type of whisper, this is the type of call that can be something that has a karmic element to it. I know that in the New Age culture, people use karma only as a negative connotation. This is more like a destiny element. This is like something that you will remember from your childhood, maybe from before your childhood, where it's got that kind of imprint where you go, oh, interesting. That experience that I had when I was 7 years old, and then there was that other time that it happened when I was like 13. I started to get interested in this. It's like the 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 video screen starts to come into focus with something. And You can expect it again to be a bit of like a slow movement as these other pieces are sort of drifting off. You can begin to expect that something else will start to come in. And that something else is you. That something else is the deeper aspects of yourself, which will give you a bit more of a guiding light on what's to happen next. Let's see if we can get a little bit more precise here, and then I'll open it up to questions. Yeah. Some of you know already what I'm talking about, that there's like an essential element inside of yourself that sometimes comes to the forefront. It can come with a certain kind of clarity or a certain kind of calm, or sometimes an energetic electricity to it. And what's being said here is that what is in the process of being dissolved will be dissolved sooner if you spend time, or if you listen to the music. It's the music of your soul, the music of your higher self. And if you start to like reorient yourself towards that, you start finding times to listen to that music and start to let your life be guided by that, that will help things dissolve sooner. As that dissolves, and again, my timeline on this is more like this is a month-long process, and then you'll start to see the fruit of it probably thereafter as we get into May. A whole lot more joy, a whole lot more hope, a lot more like easy. Things are moving at an easier pace. The quintessential move is that when we start to disentangle these parts that feel like they're contracted, these parts that are sort of organized around fear and that are contracted and disconnected, as these start to loosen up, what happens is you start to come into your sovereignty. You start to come into a deep trust of who you are. There's no longer a need for validation from all these different places. There's a sense of, I know who I am. I know what's right for me. I am nourished. I am safe. I have the things that I want. And this is something that people can say, but more so as you start to walk in it, it sort of redefines the way that you move through life. Oh, I have my roots down. Oh, I feel confident in these different situations. Oh, I trust what's happening inside of my nervous system. This can't happen when there's a part that's contracted and holding back and is sort of like stuck in the shadows, because we're a sensing organism and we need all of our system to be online. And when there's a part that's contracted away, we don't get any information in or out, or the information in that we get is distorted, and what comes out is often like sideways. So anyways, this movement that's happening, let's see if I can put these up correctly. Nope. Opposite. There we go. Nope, still not quite right. We've got this one. It's impossible, I say. So this movement from here to greater sovereignty leads into a kind of sustainable abundance, leads into a kind of foundational, multi-generational sense of you-ness. This is high-level abundance, but abundance in the sense that there's a continuity from your ancestors to you into the future. I know who I am. I know where I come from. I know where I'm going. It's like multi-generational sovereignty, multi-generational self-knowing. All right, that's what I have for you today. Pretty big movements here in terms of the solar eclipse, be really gentle with yourself in these coming weeks. Something is being gently removed. See if you can get on board with that. Be like water, be like the Tao. Okay, friends. So I'm going to open it up for questions. If you have a question, put some sort of symbol, just a symbol, in the chat, and I'll be able to select somebody, and then that person can write their question specifically. India, Ohio, Georgia, Florida, Republic of Ireland. Lovely. All right, beautiful. Let's start with Catherine Chen. If you'd like to write your question in. I like your symbol. And maybe while you're writing that, I can read one of the shorter Tao Te Ching quotes here. The Tao is called the Great Mother, empty yet inexhaustible. It gives birth to infinite worlds. It is always present within you. You can use it any way you want. The Tao is called the Great Mother, empty yet inexhaustible. It gives birth to infinite worlds. It is always present within you. You can use it any way you want. It's pretty cool. That comes from the axial age, which is, the 500 years BC to 500 CE. Whoa. I didn't know for a long time. That's 2 years. So, Catherine, I'm waiting for your question. There we go. Hi, I have been getting told for a number of years now that my ex-husband is going to come back to me, but not even in contact anymore. So I'm not sure why I keep getting told he will come back. Okay. Let me see what I find out when I tune in with you, Catherine, and when I tune in with your ex-husband. Huh. All right. I don't know who this person is, but I'm going to see if there's a way to remove you. I'm going to put you in timeout. You get a 10-minute timeout. Tarot Destroyer. Gotcha. All right. To each their own, right? So, Catherine, the first thing that I'm seeing right off the bat is that there's a flightiness around this particular you've been told wants to come back but is emotionally unavailable. Yeah, well, what I'm seeing right now with him is he's being represented by the Page of Wands, and this is an immature version of the King of Wands. This is the type of um, masculine archetype that can be very attractive and energizing, but they don't really have any direction in their life. They don't really have a certain kind of commitment or reliability yet. So that's a bit of what I'm seeing there. Now, what I'm curious for you is some of what's being shown here is like there's almost a sense that that would be an energizing experience for you if he were to show back up. Like there's this sense that that would inspire you in some way. Let me look a little bit deeper into your ex-husband. Yeah, I don't know about all that. Emotionally unavailable is one way of saying it. Another way of saying it is that he's got a lot of his self-esteem is compromised, and as a result, he has a tendency towards being a little bit sneaky. Um, Sneaky, not necessarily trustworthy. So let's see if he's coming back into your life. I haven't seen anything that indicates that just yet. Right. Okay. So I do see possibilities of there being a reconnection. I feel like it's important to be very wary of his motives. I don't know what's going on with him legally or what the situation is with you two in regards to the divorce in general, but there's just like an uncomfortable feeling that goes around his return. It doesn't feel like everything is out on the table with what's going on there if he were to show back up. The other possibility here is that he's just connecting with you at an energetic level, and from there there's something that's sort of spinning and churning and unfinished. Yeah, he is such a liar. Told me for 15 years during our marriage he had nothing. He had nothing only by chance. After he left 2 years later, found out he had money. Yeah, there's something very shady about his whole situation. Um, yeah, and there's something that's unbalanced in the way that he didn't bring that forward to you and let you know the finances that he had. Clearly, that was an unfair move in terms of, I'm sure, what happened with the divorce element. Let me just take a look at what's most helpful for you in this situation. Yeah, it's important for you to be putting your focus and your attention on creating your own happiness, taking the steps to move forward, to really find your own footing. And as a result of you working on these pieces, you're going to be able to call this completely done, like processed out of your system, let go of, done with, which will open up new possibilities for you. There's a card that keeps showing up here in regards to you and your own love life, which is the Knight of Pentacles. And this is a more mature, balanced version of a romantic relationship. And this also speaks to just your own process, moving at your own pace, moving in your own way. It's important to see what it is that needs to be finalized internally for you around this marriage so that you can move on and find something that's much better for you. Yes, I got a bench warrant because won't pay maintenance for our mortgage, and I got sick for losing my 3 children, could no longer work. He then walked out. I'm sorry, that sounds really awful. That sounds like a very challenging situation, Catherine. Um, I hope that what I've said so far is helpful. And yeah, just sending a lot of blessings. I don't see him coming back necessarily in a way that is positive. So I would continue to move forward as best you can. Thank you, Catherine. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for your question. So I'm just going to scroll back up here. And Amanda, would you like to ask a question? So the divorce hasn't happened. That might actually move forward. I saw some indication of that could be something that happens, but there's like just like a lot of sneaky energy around all of it. But the justice card showed up, which is somewhat of a sign that something could get finalized there. It's just really important for you to sort of put your attention in a different place. Yeah. I'm very curious about this tarot destroyer that came in here to spam the reading. That's so interesting to me. I have a tendency to move towards things that I don't understand and want to learn more. So, Amanda, am I making the right decision moving forward and walking away from people in my past? All right, great question, Amanda. Let's just reset the deck a little bit. Whew. Yeah, undeniably yes. Undeniably yes. It's time, or it's right for you to be moving on from people in your past. Boy, this card is showing up a lot right now. This is what's representing some of the people from the past, which doesn't mean that somebody is evil or wrong or that they've done anything horrible, but that there's something that's amiss, something that is causing some challenge. Now, where you're at right now, Amanda, could feel a little bit chaotic because things are moving fast. Things are moving at a quick pace. And in order for you to navigate this movement that's happening, you kind of got to stay focused. Stay focused on what it is, where it is that you're wanting to go, because I'm going to show you in a second, but where things are heading very, very good. Very good. So, some of what I can speak to here is that there's a big rebalancing that's happening in your life. There's a big sort of reorganizing of what's most important for you. And staying focused because things are shifting, things are changing. Use some of this time to do whatever is necessary to sort of mine the gems and the gold from this previous chapter in your life. And then the big advice is like, give yourself a lot of credit for what you're doing. Give yourself a lot of support talk yourself up in your head. Like your self-talk should be like, I am doing it. I'm kicking butt. There are good things that are happening. There are beautiful things that are going to be coming into my life, because that is absolutely the case. This is the Lover's card, and this is like you stepping into the fire of your true creative self. You really owning your true path in this life. Now, sometimes this can mean we're going to meet somebody great. There's going to be like a soulmate oriented connection, but at a internal level, this is like saying yes to you. This is like owning your unique signature in your life. Big changes, big movement that's happening for you. Be gentle with yourself. It's okay if things get a little bit murky or you find yourself being a little bit sad. That's part of it. It's okay. You're heading in a beautiful direction. So this is a little bit, this is what's hanging out in the shadow realm for you right now. And this is the Ace of Swords, which is like clarity, decisiveness, insight. This is going to be a little bit hard to get your hands on right now. So point your views on where it is that you're heading and keep walking. Keep heading in the good direction. Listen to that song of your soul, because you're coming to a place where you're going to embody more of this Queen of Wands. And I recommend you look her up and see what at an archetypal level what this represents for you. But she's embodied herself. She's said yes to the parts of herself that have been denied by others. She's given herself more reign in the way that she moves through life. She's creatively powered. Thank you, Amanda. Thanks for your question. And good luck with this transition. You're heading in a good direction. I see a couple more people hopped in. Hi there, Karen. Hi, Grace. So the way that we're doing this is, if you've got a question, just put a symbol up next to your name and I'll select you, and then you can ask your question from there. So, Frederick, if you've got a question, I'd love to do a reading for you. And everybody that still has a question, put a symbol up again so I don't have to scroll all over the place. God forbid I have to scroll up a few levels, but it's just easier that way. Frederick, while you're going, I'll read us another Tao quote here. The Tao is like a well, used but never used up. It is like the eternal void, filled with infinite possibilities. It is hidden but always present. I don't know who gave birth to it. It is older than God. So, Tamara says, thanks for helping me to keep stability in my life. Ted keeps sending me I love you type messages, but I just ignore it and be nice. Stability, stability, stability. All right, Frederick. Am I on the right path in my business? I see the growth and feel more is on the way. Great question, Frederick. Let's take a look here. So, Frederick, the first piece that's coming out here is your ability to balance multiple things at once, and not getting rigid with where your business is asking for your attention. And maybe this is a maybe you've got this only this business, maybe there are some other things that you're needing to put your attention on, but being able to sort of seamlessly go from one place to the other, not getting overly stuck in one particular place. If something's not moving, give it a little bit of room. Yeah, it looks like things have been healthy. Yeah. If you can see it, if you're starting to see the direction of where this is going, continuing to bring some attention to that. You've got a really powerful card that's showing up, which is the Magician, which is this ability to truly make things move and happen in the world and in your life. Being able to take an insight and an idea and bring it into the material world. Yeah, that's great. Now, there's an interesting card that's showing up as a feminine influence in your life that maybe is creating a little bit of sadness or maybe creating a little bit of distraction. And I just want to name that. Now, that could be an individual, it could be a reminder to attend to the feminine part of yourself, which means in the Jungian perspective, this is like in a masculine individual, this would be the element of their soul that makes them feel inspired, alive, creative, engaged with things. And when we hyper focus on business or when we hyper focus in the drier realms, it's important to turn and to nourish your soul, nourish the parts of yourself that need to enjoy feeling and enjoy self-care and enjoy good music and good food. So I'm just saying that I don't know exactly how that lands for you. Yeah, so you are heading into another period that's going to feel like good growth. This is what you're heading into next. I wouldn't be surprised if it may be some of the same that's been growing. It might be something very new, like a new part of your business starts to come online or a new clientele starts to show up. Something fresh is starting to open up for you in a good way. Yeah. I see really positive things happening in the coming months. Let me see for just a second if there's any sort of precision on timing. This month, keep your eyes open for people that have more experience in what it is that you're doing or experience in areas of your business that can give you some insight and some knowledge about how to progress. People that have already walked down a similar path. But I see really positive things here for you, Frederick. This could be a bit of a turning point in this next month that brings about some powerful changes for you in this business. You were right about self-care. I have many elements of my business. Got it. Yeah. So being able to seamlessly sort of move from one to the other, you might sort of follow your inspiration. Obviously, certain things just got to get done. But then the other side is like, go. I don't know what's your way of like getting in touch with the part of you that loves life, music, nature, friends, the things that fill you back up are really important for you right now. Thanks for the question, Frederick. Really a pleasure to tune in with you, my friend. So, Janet, would you like to ask a question? Good. Music and outdoors. Get some. Thanks, Frederick. Fill your bowl to the brim, and it will spill. Keep sharpening your knife, and it will blunt. Chase after money and security, and your heart will never unclench. Care about people's approval, and you will be their prisoner. Do your work, then step back. The only path to serenity. Suyani, I'm just gonna follow the natural order that's showing up. Um, but I will certainly be doing this again. Fill your bowl to the brim, and it will spill. Keep sharpening your knife, and it will blunt. Chase after money and security, and your heart will never unclench. Care about people's approval, and you will be their prisoner. Do your work, then step back. The only path to serenity. New Age Barbarian, thank you for your input. If my McDonald's induced diarrhea continues, then my bowl will definitely be overflowing. Yeah. Steer clear of McDonald's, my friend. So we're waiting on Janet's. There we go. I moved and was enjoying my new house. Then all of a sudden, I'm getting bad luck. I'm thinking of moving. Should I? So you're thinking that it has to do with where it is that you moved. Oh, there's so many different things that, it's a constellation of things that are going on that could be creating good luck or bad luck, right? It could be just a phase in life. It could have nothing at all to do with you. It could be something in your ancestral line from 6 generations back that's finally coming to the surface and needs to be digested. What is it that I just read? Do your work, then step back. The only path to serenity. So let's take a look at the place that you're living. So you might ask yourself, you might do a little bit of inner excavation about what part of you doesn't trust when things are going well. What part of you starts to pull back when things are going well? This is not uncommon for there to be a part of us that when we start to expand and when something new comes in, at first it's like, this is good, but then there's kind of like a bracing for what might go wrong. This is just a bit of a phase right now. It's not going to last for too long. What I'm seeing so far, I like what I'm seeing with where you're currently living. I would hold out for a while longer. Yeah, moving is not the move. Moving is not the move right now. It's not the right It doesn't seem like your house. Give it a little bit more time is definitely what I'm seeing here. So there's a there's a place that is indecisive. This is what I'm seeing, is that there's like an indecisive place in you that is a little bit uncertain of putting your roots down or landing somewhere. I would start doing what you need to do, or doing what you feel called to do, to start making it into the space that you really want to be in. Even if you end up only being there for a short period of time, love it up. Love that space up. Turn it into like a place of adornment. Turn it into a place that, I'm pretty influenced by Japanese culture for a number of reasons, but like start loving the spirit of your house as if your house were a living being. Start loving it up in that way. Start gifting it. Start blessing it. Start calling it home and calling it beautiful. And just see. Uh, you don't have to stay there forever, but when I look at what I'm seeing here, it's going to open back up for you. It's going to start to feel good to you. There's some work that needs to go into you making it more your space, but that's good, right? It's good to put your sweat and blood into the things that you love or that you want to love someday. That's part of the prayer of things, is that we're working on them. We're loving them up. We're putting parts of ourself into it. That changes things. One of my teachers says, we are born into life, and the context of our life completes us. Sometimes we're trying to find the right context. Which context will make me feel the best? And that's understandable. But there's also something about allowing the context of our life, as if we were meant to be exactly where we are, to be the perfect working tools to complete us, to turn us into the fully awake beings that we intend to be. So the other thing is that when I look at moving, I see very unsettled energy around it. I see like a continued pattern that doesn't necessarily serve you. So give it some time, and give it some time in the way that people, where you say, okay, I'm going to give it my all for the next 3 months or the next 6 months or the next year. You find a legit container and you're like, I won't even think about moving until then. For the next 6 months, I am 100% committed to this place. And then I'll check in and see. But you give it your full attention. No way out for 6 months or whatever, you figure out what's right for you. Thank you, Janet. Thanks for your question. Appreciate you tuning in with me. Archie asks, do I smoke weed? Archie, I don't smoke weed. I did when I was a younger man, but my it was actually a big part of some pretty powerful initiatory processes for me. I was violently assaulted when I was stoned as a 16-year-old, and it opened a doorway for me. And these days, my highest preference is actually to that when I'm having transpersonal or psychic or spiritual experiences, I like to know that I am stone cold sober, because it's that much more validating on my path when I'm experiencing things like that you might experience on acid or mushrooms. When I'm 100% sober, it helps strengthen my trust in my ability to transform my life. But I don't have anything against it. I think that there are ways to be in relationship with all kinds of medicines, and we just also have to know what that means when we interface and we make an agreement with that kind of influence. So, good question, or a random question. Carrie, would you like to ask a question? And I think this might be our last question, friends. I think I told you at the beginning I've got the COVID, and there's only so much like this kind of attunement and being in front of other humans that I can handle at the moment. You were jumped when you were 16, Karen? I'm so sorry. And when you were high too. Yeah, wow. Maybe we should have a conversation. It was a very impactful experience in my life. Blessings, Tamara. It's good to see you on the screen. Okay, Carrie, go for it. And friends, I will do this again. I'll try to put the link up soon, and then you can click it and it'll remind you when that reading's coming up. Thanks, Karen. So I'll try to put that up again soon so that you can get the reminder, and that way you can get your question read next time. I'll do my best to remember who's asked a question. And for those of you that want some more depth and some more in-person time, my community portal is a great place. It's usually a small number of people that are getting their questions read, and we're much more here. You're welcome. So Carrie says, I'm filing for a divorce and making a big move in the next 2 months. Are my decisions putting me towards the right path? Great question, Carrie, and what a big transition you're going through. Great, let's take a look into it. Yeah, just sending love to you right now, Carrie. Those are big shifts. It's a weird piece that's wanting to come through for you, Carrie, but what's being said is whatever part of you is like holding your breath or like waiting, you can know that you're already well on your way. And there isn't anything specific that's being said to. It's just that's the message that wants to come through, is whatever is waiting, like waiting to land, waiting for this next piece, you're already headed there. You're already headed there. That's good. Okay. So there's a bit of like uncertainty as to whether this new place or this new area will feel like it's community, feel like there's closeness there, or there's goodness there. It is going to be a big shift for you. It's going to take some work to make this shift and this move happen. Like it'll feel a little bit overwhelming. That's what this particular message is saying, is that the hardest part is already done. You're actually walking into a much more, there's going to be a lot of relief. You're heading into a place of greater ease for yourself. On the material level, in terms of the actual move and the actual transition that you're going through, it's going to feel a little bit chaotic, but it's good. My sense is that you're going in a good direction. Yeah. Yeah. Some of what is going to be challenging for you is the letting go process and not beating yourself up about the choices that you've made. I bet there's been a bunch of chaotic energy, I can imagine. You're moving through it, and some of what's showing up here is to give yourself, allow yourself the grace of forgiving yourself, forgiving the challenges that are before you, not necessarily forgiving the people in your life. That's something that needs to come authentically, but forgiving yourself and being kind to yourself in the choices that you're making and the changes that are happening. You are heading in a good direction. When you get to the other side of the transition part, there's going to be some like needed effort to like make this space and create the life that you're wanting, but it's something that you're going to be able to do. There's going to be a sense of less burden on your shoulders, and that's going to lead into a much more clear sense of your creative energy and what it is that you're needing. You're very much heading into this Nine of Pentacles place of being able to stand on your own, getting to enjoy your own energy in a new and powerful way. And I have a lot of cards that are showing up that give me the sense of there being you getting on track with like destiny, or you getting on track with like your soul's movement in this life. But yeah, there's some this, this is not an easy transition for you. The biggest message is that you're actually already through the most challenging part, and now there's like the material side of things need to catch up with what you've done and how you've like what it is that you've chosen. And once that happens, you're going to feel like you've got your feet underneath you. That's what I'm looking for. Yeah, good, Carrie. Well, I hope this is helpful, and blessings on this big shift for you. And thanks for asking your question. And everybody else, thanks so much for being here and for tuning in. And it's lovely to feel your energy and to sit with you for a bit. And would love to connect again. I'll put the information up in the coming days for the next one. Hey, Linda, good to see you. And yeah, I'll keep you posted. Take care, everybody. Have a great rest of your night, and blessings on this coming cycle. Bye bye.